channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees and shares all things new. This is Frances Bauer streaming from my office here in Santa Clara, California. You're watching Design Your Life on TNC.
Do you like to watch and live vicariously through others' family lives, travels, relationships, passions? This show is here to encourage you to go beyond just dreaming. We'll show you some things that'll stretch your beliefs, and you'll meet some people whose real-world experiences and perspectives just might help you figure out how to go after the life you want, and maybe even break some mental barriers you didn't realize you had. This is Design Your Life with Frances Bauer. Welcome to our show, Design Your Life.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
I'm just really pleased that you were able to make the time. I know as a filmmaker, you've got, God, how many projects do you have going on at the moment?
It's not more of the project, it's more of the clients. I have 4 clients.
That you're working on right now. Okay, awesome. Well, for those of you who don't know and probably don't follow my page, I just started it, so I posted some, or you may have seen on the TNC page some congratulatory posts about a, what's it called? Our film premiere of Burn Rate with the 48-hour film project. Mr. Richard Gali right here is responsible for putting together, goodness.
Yeah, that was fun.
A cast, a script, costuming, editing, everything in a matter of 48 hours.
My God. Can't believe he did that.
So for context, folks, a the 1 minute 30-second commercials that you normally see on TV, those can take about 8 hours to shoot, but that doesn't even include the costuming, casting, editing, and all that other fun stuff. And so you can imagine how grueling that 48-hour challenge was.
Yeah.
For the entire cast. But gosh, you love it, and you keep joining these things.
I know. Every time it's like 2 or 3 in the middle of the night, I always ask myself, why did I join this competition? Just so tired. I thought we were going to finish this one for this year. Mm-hmm. We almost didn't, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was almost to the wire. It was like within the hour, we started turning it in. And it wasn't going through online.
Oh my god.
And I did it again 15 minutes later. And I was like, oh shoot, we only have 45 minutes to turn this in.
Of course, it takes time to encode and transmit and all that fun stuff, right?
Yeah, I think their site is the one that was, they made their own video platform, and their platform was crashing because that means
everyone's trying to get theirs
everybody
in.
was trying to get it in.
Oh my gosh, that had to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it was.
But we do look forward. We're still looking forward to the 1 hour edit.
Yeah.
Really.
We're missing a scene. I think that's why I'm not done yet. I'm trying to get 2 of the actors to come in, and we just spend like 3 hours together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would you invite them back to the office? You
just
let me know. Okay. That would be beautiful.
For sure.
All this craziness. Why, Richard? Weren't you supposed to be a nurse like all the other Filipinos in the U.S.?
I did. My parents sent me to nursing school, but I'm not a nurse. Yeah, that didn't happen.
What happened?
I went to nursing school, and it's away from home, so I had my own dorms.
Ooh.
And across the hall was another Filipino around my age, and he was a filmmaker.
Oh.
Yeah. So we like
What are the odds?
not much. There really isn't.
There are a lot of Filipino filmmakers in the Bay Area, San
Back
Francisco Bay
then,
Area.
it was literally just me, him, and maybe like 4 other people. Like literally.
Wow.
Like, well, when I say it was only us, I meant like in our like generation of, because I know of Filipino filmmakers, but they're in the older side, right?
I see. Wow.
But having kids 19, 20 years old going around saying they're gonna be, they're going around with cameras making short films, that was not happening.
That was non-existent
No.
at the time.
Mm-mm.
Was it a equipment thing? Was it a...
It's there's this, what is it?
But I mean, camcorders were a thing, right? In our day.
Yeah, it was.
Like camcorders.
A lot of it is equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I were to really like delve into that, equipment wasn't cheap. I remember the camera that we were starting to shoot with was the Panasonic DVX 100B. That's the camera that I owned.
Okay.
And
So for those of us who have no idea what that is, could you like tell us how fancy, janky,
it's pretty fancy actually.
for its time anyway?
It was equivalent to the Canon XL2, right? And that's like, I don't know if you can picture this, but it was like that white camera that goes on your shoulder as a zoom lens. So that was the independent filmmaking camera. You wanted that camera, but it was...
With that little microphone on top with the spider
Yes,
thing in
but it was close to like $11,000
Oh my god.
at the time. I mean, eBay was selling it because eBay kind of just started in a way back then.
The online pawn shop?
Yeah. And I remember finding one on eBay for $7,000, and I was like, dude, I need this camera. I need this camera to be successful.
How did you afford that as a college kid?
I didn't. So that was the camera maybe for like the next 5 years, right? You wanted the Canon XL2, it looked great. There's movies that were made on it, like 28 Days Later was made on it. There's a number of films that I could name, but you wanted that look. But if you really, what do you call it? If you really like, if you don't want the brand name, right, then you got to look for a competitor that shoots exactly the same, and that was the DVX.
Okay.
So they made a DVX, then DVX 100A, then DVX 100B was like the camera that was a competitor to the Canon, and it was half the price.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, that worked. That totally worked. Yay. So you went from nursing to, well, I mean, you were kind of filmmaking in nursing school.
Yeah,
But then you left nursing.
I did.
Care to explain what happened there? Because you're clearly not in Scrubs now.
Yeah, so me and my friend, we made a short film, and I think that's all it had to take.
Okay.
For us to make a 20-minute short film, and it was our version of Scary Movie,
Oh, okay.
right? Just
Okay.
taking.
That had to be so much fun.
Oh, it was so fun. Just making a haunted film, but making a parody of it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And what it did for me was that it filled my acting cup, because all I did during middle school and high school was be in theater, right? So it filled my acting cup. The only reason why I had my own cameras was because I would like redo scenes of my favorite movies, right?
Oh, fun.
And and that's where I kind of first taught myself how to do like composition and really critiquing my acting work, right? And when I met my friend, it was like such a relief for me, because I was like, oh, dude, this is great. I don't need to be the camera guy. and the actor. Like
Sure.
I couldn't just be the talent.
Right.
Right. So I kind of dropped filmmaking for like a good 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look for gear anymore.
Oh.
I just
Yes.
I relied on my friend to just have everything, have the sound equipment and everything, and we got a bunch of friends together and we made a group called Barcada Inc. It was his idea.
How fun.
Yeah.
Barcada Inc.
Yeah, it was fun. We just ran around. All we did I was only in this college for a semester before my parents realized, like, hey, if you're not going to be a nurse, I'm going to take you out of this school. And the grades proved them right. Like, they looked at my grades, like, whoa, you're out. Let's get out of here.
Okay. I see that. They're like, yeah, this is not work. So, I mean, you were trying to be the good boy, the good son, the respectful, obedient son, and you were trying to, go along with your parents' dreams, I suppose.
I was just following their blueprint, not really their dreams. So, being a Filipino in general here in the United States, being a nurse is a roadmap to success because, if you understand the history in the Philippines, they send out caretakers everywhere in the world, basically.
Right.
And they realize, like, hey, if they just take 2 more years of you can't just be a caretaker. You have to still go into a program, right? But if you just take 2 more years, you're basically a nurse. So these colleges, right, they basically just became nursing schools, and they just sent out nurses. And this is back in the 70s.
Okay.
Right. So
our parents' time,
yeah.
essentially, so that's the mindset.
That's the mindset. So then, they see their cousins who went in those roadmaps. They see their, neighbors who went in those roadmaps. And if they didn't take it themselves, they're like, guys, there's a roadmap to success, and it's this.
This is where the opportunity is. I
And
guess.
everybody can go to a hospital and be like, oh, I know you somehow. My son is trying to be a nurse. Can you get him into your hospital? So there's like hookups in every hospital. It doesn't matter what hospital. You could go to Stanford Hospital and be somebody, but like, my son is almost done. Can you hook him up and get him into Stanford?
I'm hearing it's getting that hard now to get into like the more prestigious hospitals.
It is.
You need a hookup.
You do.
But again, that's not. Did destiny yank you out? What happened? Like, I guess that's kind of is that the moral here, Richard? Like, don't try to fit yourself where you don't belong, or did you even know where you belonged?
That was the first time when I made that short film in college. That was the first time I realized. That was the first time I wanted to be something. Right.
So you went into nursing school not knowing what you wanted, and you're like, Mom and Dad said this, I guess I'll go.
I went into nursing school for myself, knowing I wasn't going to be a nurse. I thought I was just going to end up getting a degree to being a teacher, because I could do that. I could translate my acting skills into, use my theater skills and translate into teaching, right? So to me, that was my personal plan.
I see.
I went into college thinking I was going to end up being a teacher. But then when I made that short film, and not too long after, we made a series of short films. Once we made that short film, I felt it. I knew I wanted to be something, be a filmmaker. Like, I had to be that. And I never had that feeling before. I never grew up and be like, oh, I need to be a lawyer. I really want to be a policeman. I really want to be a firefighter. Like, those are the options they give us as you're growing up.
Right.
You know
Well, I mean, what we watch on TV and, on the cartoons, right? They're like, I'm going to be a policeman. I'm going to be a teacher. And kids pick that. And
you pick the cool ones. Okay, officer. Right. I want to be a firefighter. And then, you really, and the older you get, you can just envision yourself in that role, and I just didn't see myself in any of those roles.
So you're kind of just going with the flow.
With the flow, yeah.
Right?
It's hard to ask a 20-year-old, 19-year-old what you want to be when you grow up.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. And that's that point in our lives we don't really know enough about ourselves that we're being asked to make that decision. It's unfair. Anyhow, so let me see here. So you went to gosh, I forgot I was going to ask.
You were gonna ask.
Oh, I was going to ask. Okay, back on. But I understand that even as a kid, you were still, you were essentially filmmaking. Didn't
Yeah,
you
but
tell the audience
I
about
didn't. Yeah. So, my family bought a video camera when I was around 10 years old, right? And as much as my dad wants me to be a nurse, it's actually his fault that I became a filmmaker, right? And I didn't know I wanted to be a filmmaker until later on. But he's the one that kind of he like implanted it in me without knowing it, right? So he bought a video camera so that he can shoot a bunch of. I'm actually piecing it together as we speak right now. He bought the video camera so that he could shoot his birthday party, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, all that year, right? So I had 4 parties that was gonna be thrown at our house to capture this. His birthday's in November, Thanksgiving's not too soon after, then Christmas, and obviously New Year's, right? And he wanted to capture all. He got like a bunch of tapes, right, ready to capture a moment. It's high millimeter, the new Sony brand new camera. You could zoom in, you could press the the night vision,
Yes.
and then it'll turn black and white and your eyes will bright up, right? It was state of the art, dude.
Turn like white, right?
Yeah, it was state of the art. And my dad bought the camera but didn't want to shoot it himself.
Okay.
Right. None of my uncles wanted to shoot it. So none of his brothers wanted to shoot it. So he called me over and says, Chard, I need you to film the party, right? So here I am as a 10-year-old like, no. I want to play with my cousins.
Yeah.
Right? But he's like, no, just get a little bit of everything, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rush this. I'm just gonna get what he thinks, what he said, a little bit of everything. So that night when he looks at the tape, he goes, you only shot like 7 minutes worth of tape. I'm like, what are you talking about? I shot everything. That should be more than that.
You're kind of like,
Yeah, it took me probably an hour to shoot everything. But to stop and record, that's only like 5 seconds here, 6 seconds here. So my dad he was so upset. Like, what is this? This is 7 minutes? We have so much tape. So,
and of course, Filipino party ran 6 hours, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, Thanksgiving, I got this. I got this. Thanksgiving, I'm gonna make sure I run through the whole tape. Basically, I just recorded all the way through. I didn't stop recording at all. You just see this little kid walking around with the camera rolling the whole time.
I would love to see these VHS videos if we could find a player at the thrift shop. Anyhow.
I know, right? So it's just playing the whole time. I'm showing the food. I'm just showing the decorations. Tape runs out. Like, cool, let's go play. My dad watches it. He's pissed again. He's like, "Oh my gosh, what are we watching? I'm dizzy. You're walking around. You're not supposed to walk around." So he's actually giving me the blueprint on what he thinks looks good, and becomes my blueprint on capturing establishing shots, capturing engaging shots, beauty shots, close-up shots on food, and then you cut to an establishing on how it looks like on the table. He every party that went on that year, he would just give me like a harsh critique on what it should be. And the following party, I would always try to capture something that he would be proud of, right? And I never got that. Oh, that looks good. You did a good job this time.
Way to go, Balong.
Yeah, I never got it, but my uncles, my aunties, my cousins, they would say, "Dude, this is good. It's like a professional who shot it." that made me feel good, you know? That's all I needed.
10,
I
11 years
didn't need it from my dad, but
Mhm.
hearing an audience say it,
Mm-hmm.
that felt good. So that's kind of like how it started. And not that I shot every party,
Mm-hmm.
but I started using the camera on personal stuff, right? I would watch a scene from a movie and there'll be characters such as like the actor Jim Carrey,
Mm-hmm.
right? There'll be characters that he would play, like in movie Ace Ventura
Mhm.
or Dumb and Dumber,
Mm-hmm.
and I would literally like mimic every line, every movement, right? And if he did this scene in an office setting,
Mm-hmm.
I would move my room around so it looks like an office setting, and there's something about video cameras that are camcorders.
Mm-hmm.
It's never wide enough. The lens is never wide enough.
Even though you
It's
look
always too close.
all the way and you feel like the thing's gonna fall off because you keep.
Yeah, so I would have to film this stuff in my garage.
Oh wow.
So
Mhm.
so it would get that composition that looked exactly like on a screen. So I would
Mhm.
run and that I would see a paused image
Mm-hmm.
on the screen, right? I'm like, okay, cool. The desk is right here.
Oh my gosh, you were
chair's right
really.
here, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I would record and just be like, you know, like those movements that he
Yes,
does.
yes. Uh-huh.
And he does this thing where he talks through his butt.
Yes.
I promise you, there's a
You
tape
have
out there
videos of you bent over.
talking through my butt, dude.
I would pay money for that.
And I would like watch it and be like, yes, but there's something different here. You're like, I need other actors,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
Or there's a pan that I don't have, like a camera
Sure.
movement. I remember trying to like push a chair so the chair would move while I'm trying to walk into the scene. And I'm like, dang, and then at that moment I realized I can't act and
Yeah.
go in front of the camera at the same time. And I would be the one that would have to move the camera around.
Mm-hmm.
And I would force my brother to talk through his butt. It's like- or like just reenact those scenes while I shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because you wanted the angles you
Yeah,
wanted, I
and
suppose.
by then I was already like 13 years old.
Wow.
So I was like,
You were already honing your craft.
yeah, yeah.
Not
yeah.
even knowing it. It was just you playing.
Yeah.
And you just happened to have the equipment.
Yeah, just had a video camera and those were some of the best summers of my life, honestly. Instead of going out and like biking, like it would just be me, my brother, my cousins, and we would just redo short films or just do any idea we could think of.
Wow. So you really, and it worked out for you. You had, by the grace of God, you had the opportunity to follow your passion and
Yeah.
take it on and you didn't even know it was your passion from what I'm hearing.
It was just fun. It was just something that I really like doing. It's just that it wasn't there wasn't like a face that I can relate to that was doing that.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Or do you mean, because filmmakers normally don't see them, right? You just see the work. Or do you mean that there
I mean,
were no other
I also
filmmakers?
aware of
Role
who was like Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
or George Lucas. I was aware of all the directors
Mhm.
when I was growing up, but none of them looked like me, and
Right.
there's no.
Oh my gosh, yes, zero.
Yeah,
We had zero role models in that film, in that field.
yeah, that's so true.
back then.
I mean, I can point out some now,
Mhm.
like as I'm traveling the world and technology is getting better. I
Yeah.
can point out some now, but back then, none that I could think of.
So hopefully you're that for that, child at home that's looking at,
I know, right?
maybe you can be that person.
Hopefully.
Who, that's their passion. But so what do you have to say to that child at home about, whose parents are like, someday, Baruch, you're going to be a doctor or an engineer, a lawyer. And if that doesn't work out, you're going to be a nurse, a nurse. You're going to be a nurse. What do you have to share with that kid?
You know what? I think out of all the years that I've been, I've been fortunate to work in fields, right, in the past 7 years, where I'm working with individuals who just really likes to inspire people, right? Their words cut through your mind. You get paradigm shifts, and your mindset gets stronger and stronger the more you listen to them. Right, so I've been super blessed to be working with them and interviewing them, because people who strive like them, they're successful because they read books, basically a new book every month, right? And they regurgitate what they've learned in their speeches, in their conversations, right? And the most important thing that stuck with me was that it's not about who you're going to be when you grow up, it's who you're going to be. It's not the career. There we go. It's not the career of who you're going to be when you grow up, right? You got to stop asking yourself, what am I going to do as a job when I grow up? You got to start asking yourself, who am I going to be as a person when I grow up, right? And when you start asking that, you start taking a step back and seeing the almost the morality behind it, like your decision making. You start seeing the ethics behind your decisions. Your whole decision making changes just because you ask that one question: what kind of person do you want to be when you grow up, right? And whether if it's faith driven or goal driven, all that won't happen unless if you change who you are as a person.
Wow, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, and then if I may ask, because we do have an international audience here, and you and I are fortunate enough to be in the United States. What do you have to say to the people who may feel like they don't have the ability to do to follow their passions, or to follow that growth journey like you did?
Yeah.
Because I don't have the same opportunities that you have in the United States. How do you feel about, what do you have to say to folks that feel that way?
That's a dope question. Here's a good one.
Okay.
I just read this. So, passion, right? When you have a passion for something, that's actually very selfish, and it's okay to be selfish.
Okay.
Right? Passion's a very selfish feeling, right? Because it's all about you striving towards this feeling. You keep doing it because it makes you feel good.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
You do it every day. You wake up for it.
Okay.
Purpose is when you do it for other people. Right? So that's where the difference maker is, right? When you have a passion for something, which I do, I have a passion for storytelling, right? But I found a purpose in storytelling. My purpose in storytelling is building companies, telling stories of people so that story can help a company grow, right? And man, just knowing that this next interview that I can do with somebody, right, can be seen millions of times because of the online platforms. It drives me. I try to tell the best story I can if a client asks me to, and that's what it is. Like, yes, living in a different country will limit your opportunities, right? But then once you find that purpose, you'll soon realize that it's not about the money that will make you happy. It's fulfilling that purpose that will make you happy.
Wow.
Yeah. That
was great. Thank you, Richard. So, last but not least, before I let you go, because I know you've got a lot going on today, how do people get a hold of you if they want to work with you, or if they have a project for you that maybe they want to pitch to you?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram at Rich Cinema. I haven't posted in a long time, but I still answer DMs.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, you
So
can email me
slide
at
into your DMs.
the slide. You can email me at richcinemastudio@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard.